Awesome, awesome. Hey, welcome back to the Brett Figueroa Show, where our aim is to move, to motivate, and inspire you into your ultimate greatness. Hey, I'm excited to have you with us here today, either in the live or either in the replay. And I want to just take a moment, wish you, your family, your loved ones, your colleagues, your associates, whoever it is that you have around you, I just want to wish you the absolute best. You know, it's been crazy times over the past couple of years with COVID and just so many different, such a repercussion, a whiplash over the last couple of years. So I just feel like that through the level of the work that I do for the last 27 years, which is to inspire people, to move people, to motivate people the very best that we can, to find different ways to assist them in having a better quality of life, to believing in themselves, to increasing their confidence, to find that drive, to find that motivation within. And so again, we just want to welcome you with us here today. We're excited about today's topic. Now you, as the end user, might not be as excited about today's topic as I'm excited about today's topic, because today's really talking about change, and I heard something back many years ago that said the only people that like change is babies with wet diapers. So for most people, they're like, no, I don't want to change. This is like where they'll turn me off. They'll be like, no, he's going to talk about change and doing this and doing that. And so for most people, they're done. Like, where's the end button on this guy? And so for some of you, I might be catching you at the right time. I might be catching you at the right intersection of your life. You might be dealing with something, maybe in your marriage, your fitness, your finances. You might be dealing with something in your own, confidence. And so today, I really want to come at you, in a powerful way, in the best way that we can, to share a message of change, to share a message of transformation. And so today's topic is really about how do we take our shoulds of our life. So today we're going to talk about our shoulds, right? And transforming our shoulds. Now, you know what I'm talking about when I say shoulds, right? Because all of us have those shoulds. And for some, they have more shoulds than others. And I should go to the gym. I should get healthy. I should wake up earlier. I should read more. I should study more. I should listen to more podcasts. I should be better in my marriage. I should be better in my finances. I should. And as we like to say, we can should all over ourselves. And so it's like, how do we take a should, right? So just think about this. Just think about in your own life. So we want to go through a few just quick steps. Like, think about for your own self, what are some of the shoulds that you have in your life? What are some of those shoulds? And I know for the longest of times, I had so many shoulds, right? And I still do. I'm a human being. I think for all of us, we got these different shoulds. I should do this and I should do that. But back many years ago, I had a friend of mine. He was always one of those super nice guys, meaning that he would look at me and he'd say, Brett, seriously, I think you're stuck on stupid. The first time I heard that, I was like, stuck on stupid? He's like, yeah, dude, because you have all these things that you should do, but you're not doing them. And so today we want to talk about that, and just looking at your own life is what are some of those shoulds that you have? And so for many of those shoulds, again, they get stacked up. When they get stacked so high, it's hard because you go, oh God, I've got so many shoulds I should be doing. And so, but I want to go through a few things. And so first of all, number one is, what are your shoulds? You might want to just write those down. It's, you talk, if you have a journal, we like to say, if life is worth living, it's worth recording. So write down some of these things. Number one is, what are your shoulds? What are the things that you look at in your life where you go, man, I should change this. I should change, how I show up in my marriage. I should change how I wake up and the time. I should change, what I'm eating. I should change how I'm working with my finances. I should change how it is that I talk to myself on a day-to-day basis. So what are some of those shoulds? We all have maybe some of the same shoulds, and so for some of us, might have a different level of should. I know for myself, when it came to writing books, I'm not a writer per se. I didn't go to writing school. Matter of fact, I didn't even go to college. And so I know for the longest of time, I had a barrier of entrance for me because I kept saying I should write a book. And I was like, oh my gosh, that should went on for the longest of time. And so I had to find different key elements to take that should, that I should write a book, and turn into a must. And so I want to just go through a few quick things in terms of what is it that allows for some people to take those things and turn them into a must, where others just continue on for the rest of their life and they'll have generations ahead of them that will also have those same shoulds that you carry, that I carry, that our generations ahead of us will ultimately carry unless we make the shift. So the first thing is, number one is, what are your shoulds? What are your shoulds? Number two is, what is the leverage that you have in order to transform that? What is the leverage that you have where you can go, okay, I'm going to transform my should into an absolute must? What is the leverage that you have? I'll give you a quick example for my own self. I had been, quote, working on an audio program for many years. People would say, hey, how's that audio program going? It was for the mortgage industry. And I said, oh, it's going amazing. It's going amazing. I'm working on it. I was always working on it. And I remember I took one of my clients in the mortgage business. He did really, really well with me. And he was doing like 7, 8, 9 deals a month. And we took him to do 30 deals a month for like 7 out of 11 months right upon working together. And then he joined a franchise. The franchise had 720 offices located across the country. It was the largest franchise in the nation. So my client started at branch 720. Well, in 4 months, 4 crazy months, we went from branch 720 and we cracked the top 10 branches. So then the owner of the company, his name is Jim Hodge, he picks up the phone, he calls me, and he goes, how the heck did you get Philip so high so fast? You know, what were you doing? How did you do that? We've had guys here 10, 15, 20 years not in the top 10. You guys did it in 4 months. He said, listen, we're doing an event in Dallas. We'll have thousands of agents. And we would like for you to come, if you would be willing to, and talk on stage and bring your books and bring whatever audio programs you have. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't have an audio program. I'm still working on it, right? I should get it done. I should get it done. Well, let me say that when he called and he invited me to a stage with thousands of agents where I knew my client that I took from branch 720 into the top 10 and did that in 4, I knew we'd have a lot of buyers of that product. So over the next 30 days, which is about the time frame I had to really bring it all together. I mean, bring it all together, from the packaging to finishing the product to actually doing the editing to doing all aspects of it to make sure that we had a deliverable at that event. Matter of fact, I didn't even see the end product until the day of the event when FedEx brought it on a big giant pallet, all shrink wrapped, and there was all my products. I was like, but I had leverage. And so think about, what kind of leverage do you have in order to take one of your shoulds and transform that into a must? So that's number two. Number two is, what's the leverage? Number three is, know your why. You know, why must you shift? Why must you? You know, maybe today is that draw a line in the sand. You know, maybe that today is the day you say enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Maybe today is the day where you just go, man, that's it, no more, no more. And you just kind of throw up your hands and say, that's it, I'm going to take action and go for it. And so find out what it is, right? Number one, know what your should is. How are you going to transform that into your must? What's the leverage that you have? Number three is, what's your why? You know, we believe that, you know, that if you have a strong enough why, you'll always figure out how. See, for many, they look and go, well, how do I do that? How do I shift? How do I transform? How do I take my should and turn it into a must? Forget about how to. Know your why to. Because if you have a strong enough why, I mean a real strong enough why, you will figure out that how. So identify what that is. So in your journal, just like, what is my why? Maybe that why is for your kids. Maybe that why is for your spouse. Maybe that why is for your loved ones. Maybe that why is for the generations ahead of you. Right? Where you say, it's time to turn, it's time to shift, it's time to take this dang thing, right? And make it where, you know, like the Titanic, they missed the shot, right? They missed it and it was wham, and you don't want to miss it. You want to have your eye out, right? Keep your eyes out. There might be an iceberg out there. You don't want to sink. You want to know your why. What is my why? Number four is, here's some real, how do you find the leverage, right? So it's all about, how do we find enough leverage to make the change? Enough leverage. See, for most, they don't find enough leverage. And so for the most part, they never change, right? And so it just goes from one generation to another generation, they never change because they don't ultimately have enough leverage. So what I want to invite you to is look and ask yourself, what is the pain? So if you take your should right now. So for me, my pain and what it was going to cost me, say for an example, in the example that I gave you regarding, you know, the mortgage product that I created and did it in a very short period of time where I'd been working on it for years. And then we just slammed it and got it all done because I had enough leverage. And I was able to look and go, what's it going to cost me if I don't get it done? You know, what's the pain it's going to cost me by showing up on stage, knowing there's going to be people in the audience that want to buy it because, hey, if I did it for their guy Philip, they're in the audience going, dude, I want it too. How do I figure it out? And to not have that and to not have a deliverable, that was going to cost me a lot financially. It was going to cost me a lot emotionally. So just think about for yourself, what's it going to cost you? And one of the things you might want to do is look in the mirror, take yourself down the road a bit and do what we call future pace. And just think about if you have this should in your life, whether it's in your fitness, your finances, your emotions, your marriage. Like, think this through for a minute. Take yourself into the future and think about 5 years into the future. 5 years into the future and not making the shift, not taking that should and turning it into a must. Take yourself 5 years into the future. Is your body going to be fat or fit? Right? Are your finances going to be fat or fit? Right? Think about that. Like, what is that going to cost you? Like, if you don't make a shift in your marriage in 5 years from now, are you even going to be married? Are you even going to have that person that you so love now, but you know you've got to make some changes? Right? Maybe you have some shoulds where you go, man, I really need to work on my kids differently or better, whatever that is. What's it going to cost you and your family and your children 5 years from now by not making that shift? Take yourself 10 years into the future. 10 years into the future. Think about it. 10 years into the future, looking at yourself in the mirror. Do you look old 10 years down the road because you didn't make a shift 10 years ago? 10 years earlier when you look and go, man, I should get fit, I should get strong. 10 years in the future, are you even going to be here for your family? Are you even going to be here to be able to live the life that you say you so desire? Right? 10 years, look at your finances. Where are you? Right? Maybe you're 40 years old, 10 years down the road, you'll be 50 years old. Maybe you're 50 and 10 years down the road, you'll be 60. 10 years down the road, if you don't make a shift right now in your finances, you might be one of those Walmart greeters. I don't know how much they get paid, but in 10 years, they might be making 12, 13, 14, 15 bucks an hour. Is that really what you're after? Or are you after financial independence? To do something really great, to leave a legacy in that capacity? And you could go further, 10 years or 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, take it all the way down. So my invitation here today is identify. First thing is identify. What is that should? All right, get really clear about what's the leverage that you have in order to make that a must, right? What's your why? Like, why must I make a shift? Why must I? Maybe because it's who you are. Maybe because it's time to demand more from yourself, right? Maybe it's time to not settle for mediocrity, but to go for more, to go for abundance, to become all that you can ever possibly be. Number 4 is, again, what's the cost? What's the pain? What's the pain? Human beings are driven to move themselves away from pain. Like, we will do more to avoid pain in our lives than to gain pleasure. We'll do more to avoid pain. So think about that pain, stack that pain. The more pain you have, the more clarity you have. We say clarity is power. The more clear you are, the more power you have. Power is the ability to take action. See, most people don't have the ability to take action because they don't have clarity in they don't have power with their clarity. Get clear. Today has an opportunity for you to shift. Again, draw a line in the sand. Draw a line in the sand in such a huge way. You know, so what is it? So what is it that prevents people from doing this? You know, what is it that prevents people? You know, where we come and we just, know that, man, I really should make this change. You know, I really should do this and I really should do that. Really should go write that book. I should write that audio program. I should start this fitness program. I should start investing into myself. Right? I should start working harder on myself than on my job. We say those that work hard on their job make a living. And those that work harder on themselves make a fortune. And for most people, they're working hard on their job day after day. And they make, for some, a pretty decent living. You see, we work harder on ourselves, we can make a fortune. Because ourself shows up in our marriage. It shows up in our fitness. It shows up in our goals. It shows up in our dreams. It shows up in all capacities. We are the common denominator that show up to all of those situations. But what prevents people from making the change? One word. It's the word called fear, right? Fear of change. Oh, what if I make this change? You know, what if I stop the drugs? What if I stop the alcohol? What if I stop this or stop that? Like, oh God, what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. The first part, the first day, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, it's going to be nauseating. It's going to hurt like hell. It's going to be crazy. You're going to think to yourself, what the heck did I do? But I tell you, in the long run, it's going to be worth it. But the main element that prevents people from making that is the word fear. The acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. It only appears real. It's not real. It's false evidence appears real. I say get past that. Get what's real. What's real is that you deserve and that you desire to have a better quality of life. And you've got to know that that better quality of life, it's right within arm's reach. It's not so far in the distance that you go, oh, I can never get to that place. It's right within striking distance. It's right within striking distance. But only you can be the one to create that. See, most people wait for society to slam them into a situation, or they wait for a spouse. See, most people, I mean, think about it. Just think about it. When do most people decide to make a change? Usually when it's too late. You know, the spouse goes, dude, I'm out. Usually the spouse goes, hey, wait, I promise I'll go see that guy John Gray or whatever relationship coach I need to go to, or, you know. When do most people decide to quit smoking? Usually when the doctor says, hey, you've got cancer. Oops, better put those down. And for some, they still don't put them down. You know, they're just waiting to just box himself up in a casket and call it the day. And so I'm inviting you today, forget about whatever nonsense you might have about that fear. Make a decision today. Draw a line in the sand. Know that we're at a time in our life right now where it demands for people like you and I don't have a cooking show. I don't teach you how to build an engine in a car. Don't teach you how to build a house. We simply share simple fundamental principles, right? Simple fundamental principles that assist people on the emotional infrastructure on the inside of their lives to ultimately show a better outside life for themselves. So we want to invite you here today. So as we close up here today, I want to invite you to, one, not be stuck on stupid, right? Like I was for the longest time. And many times I still am. I'm not still saying I'm not off stuck on stupid. But I'll tell you one time, it was a part of my life and it hurt hard. You know, when somebody comes along and goes, dude, you got issues, bro. You stuck on stupid. Change, make a shift. Take those shoulds, turn them into a must. Do it starting today. So in your homework tonight, today, whatever you decide to do it, identify this. Identify your number one must. Identify your should, that number one. You don't have to go in and change all of them right away, but identify that number one, the one that's most important to you. The one that you go, if I change this one, well, that can just make for an easy segue into changing the other ones, right? So you might make a decision where you go, I'm going to make a must to start going to the gym. Well, for many times, if people make a must, for an example, you know, where they might have a couple shoulds, well, I should change my diet and I should start going to the gym. Well, the easy segue into a better diet is by going to the gym, right? Wouldn't you agree? You start going to the gym, like who's going to leave the gym and go, yeah, let's go get pizzas and beer, right? I mean, some do, don't get me wrong. But for most, it's not going to be that way. For most, it's going to be, hey, I'm going to the gym now and let me go get some healthy food and let me throw out all my junk out of the cabinets and let me throw all the junk out of the refrigerator, right? So it makes for an easier segue. So what I'd like you to do is just identify what that number one should is that can make for an easier segue into a better quality of life. And really get clear with yourself. You know, go look yourself in the mirror, man to man, woman to woman. Say, I'm sick and tired. This is enough. I'm ready for that change. I'm ready for that shift. And I believe, right, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And this could be a message today for you that could be the message. For some, they turned it off 20 minutes ago because they're like, oh, he's talking about change. You know, I'm out on this one. So I want to say here, again, as we close here today, it's very simple. Let's just go through this again. Turning your shoulds into musts. Number one, what are your shoulds? Identify what those are. Write them down. You might have a whole laundry list of shoulds. Number two, what's the leverage you have, right? What's the leverage you have to make that shift? Number three is know your why. We know if you have a strong enough why, you'll figure out how. So just know your why. Number four, what's the pain? What's it costing you by not making that shift, right? What's it costing your family? What's it costing your kids? What's it costing your confidence? What's it costing you in your self-esteem? What's it costing you in your future, right? All the future costs, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, 20 years down the road. What's it costing you? Make the change today. And again, lastly is do your homework. Identify the number one should, and then identify all the elements that are going to allow for you to make that into a must. Turn into a must starting today, I promise you. So we want to just close out here today. We want to wish all of you an amazing, amazing amount of success in your life, both personally and professionally. You know, I think for a lot of people, they go, oh, I'm going to get all this professional success. And have you ever met anybody where they have a lot of professional success, but they don't have personal success? They don't feel satisfied. They don't feel fulfilled. Sure, they may have made money, but for those that have ever made money, you know that doesn't bring a whole bunch of satisfaction. Now, it does short term, don't get me wrong. It absolutely, if one is starved and they get food, oh, that food short term, oh my God, you know, but it's not a long term. It's just short term. I'm hungry, now I got food, bam. So we invite you today to work on yourself personally, work on yourself professionally, become all that you can ever possibly be. Hey, if you get ideas or you get breakthroughs or have breakthroughs in our messaging, just write it in the little comments below. We always love your comments. We always love when people share our work. We know that you sharing our work to some of your friends, maybe you have some friends where you know they have some shoulds, get them stuck off stupid. Get them into, you know, assisting them into transforming their life, changing their lives so they have a better quality of life, right? Give us some hearts, give us some loves, and we look forward to having you back. We always appreciate, we always respect those that come onto our work because they know the type of work, not quality, the type of work that we do, which is to assist people in having a better quality of life. So we want to thank you so much. We are signing out here on the Brett Figueroa Show. Again, thank you so much to you, to your loved ones, to your families for tuning in with us, whether it's live or whether it's in the replays. But go out there, find out, identify those shoulds, turn them today into your must. Best of success. We look forward to seeing you back on another episode of the Brett Figueroa Show. Thanks for being with us. Bye, everyone.